Oftentimes, we're told that e4 tends to offer more tactical features and d4 tends to offer more positional features. We're told that we should identify our style or preference and then choose on that basis. But are they telling us the whole truth about d4 versus e4? Or is this an oversimplified talking point that deserves a more in-depth analysis where it can do us more good? How should we play against d4? How should we play against e4? What's the bottom line? Well, the bottom line is it's always a bad thing to limit yourself. It's important that we feel free to play and address any chess position that may arise. There's way too much overlap in both e4 and d4 to where it only makes sense to expand one's repertoire to include both. Whether we're making fundamental decisions or tactical ones, it is all chess and they both occur in almost every move of every game, regardless if we're starting with d4 or e4. The quality of chess is defined by one's ability to find the best move in any given situation, and there is no benefit to installing a positional versus tactical contest in our thinking when this is not the reality of chess whatsoever. Yes, some of the d4 openings can sometimes have a bit of a different flavor than some of the e4 openings, but that's really all that needs to be said about it if we want to keep our minds open to learning everything that there is to know about the game. In this game, we find ourselves in an Indian defense where black actually does really well for itself by annexing enough space and central control where there's really nothing to worry about. When black can stop white from rolling these E and D pawns, sometimes the C pawn, and really encroaching on the position, this is what black really wants to hope for. If black can stop white from encroaching too far and getting too much of a stronghold, then black is looking well. This is perfectly equal. May the best chess player win. In this example here, black does something quite similar, except instead of with the pawns, black is using the pieces to control the e4 square. White can't easily play e4. And as such, d5 comes with no bite, c5 comes with no bite. Black is perfectly happy to see either one of these pawns pushed right now, and black is doing okay. Black will be able to stretch its legs and get its pieces developed effectively and efficiently. Pardon me. c5, maybe knight c6, etc. And black won't have any problems developing around white's pieces and pawns. Going back to this first game, there's another good point to look at, and that is, what is a chess move? We want to make the most efficient moves possible. So here white has tasked black's queen with a question. What are you going to do? You're under attack. You have to move somewhere. And so black just plays chess. Black realizes, okay, there's an extra attack on my knight here. And that means that, yeah, if my queen relinquishes defense of this knight with, let's say, a move like b6 or a6 or a5 or c6, well, then, yeah, there's going to be a discovery attack on that knight where pawn takes bishop, rook takes knight, and white's up a pawn and probably has a winning game here. So black can deduce, because of this feature, this X-ray feature on this knight, that, yeah, okay, there's got to be a maintenance of defense on this knight here on e7. So that means this queen really only has two squares, d7 and e7. Now, if the queen moves to d7, then white gets to play this move kind of for free, right? Because this knight maybe then can come to f3, and it's a plan that white probably would have been happy to have realized anyway. So we're really just helping white here, because now we have to move our queen again, probably to d8, because now if this knight moves somewhere else, that issue's back on the board where, yeah, that knight's going to be weak. So why not just move to d8 straight away, which is exactly what black played. And this is actually how you play chess. It's so important to understand this, because the subtle nature of the game says that this move here with the queen is every bit of a chess move as any other, be it 1e4 or the final move in a checkmate. Every single move is about being as efficient as you can and putting your pieces on the best squares. In this other game, black goes on to do a good job controlling the center and space and makes sure that white really has no inroads. This is perfectly equal. Black's done a really good job of making sure that they're going to have chances moving forward. This is what you hope for out of an opening. White can't just roll over black. Black can't roll over white. But may the best person win. This is how we play chess. We've put our pieces on good squares. We've paid attention to the fundamental features of the position. We've employed tactics to make sure that we get our fair share in the center. We've employed tactics to make sure that our opponent can't do a good job of rolling over us. And we've made good use of every single move. We've been efficient, and that's what we get out of the position. Black might even be slightly better here. Maybe the rooks come to the open file, and that's what's next. We fight for an open file, etc., etc. But there won't be any surprises, and there won't be any problems. May the best chess player win. And in fact, as this game progresses, we find a spot here where white's gone a little too far. Some pieces have come off. Some trades have occurred. And here white decides to push c5, which is a mistake. It can't be defended. It can't be defended. Now we're going to have two knights attacking that pawn. It's unclear where white's counterplay is. It's unclear if white can defend this pawn. There's no dark squared bishop to aid in its defense. And there's nothing that can be done. Yeah, that pawn is now black's, and black's done well to open the game with a solid structure that's, allowed a chance for a weakness. And maybe black goes on to win this game. This is how you play against d4 as black. In our final two examples, we'll look at Caruana and Carlsen, where Carlsen's playing white. And the same kind of a theme is at play here, where black is making sure that he's striking back at the center. Caruana plays an early c5, which just destroys Magnus's pawn structure, and he's got all kinds of targets that he simply can't defend. Caruana is not at all worried about the extra pawn. That is something he can vacuum up pretty much whenever he wants, albeit he does have a little bit of a slow bishop due to the pawn on e6. With that said, Magnus also has a little bit of development before he can get himself situated. It's an interesting opening, especially as f3 business, kind of putting a weird spin on that knight. But nonetheless, Caruana actually did go ahead to win this game. And it reminds us very much about Artur Josipov as black and Viktor Korchnoi. Same kind of a theme where we see that early strike out of this Nimzo setup here, where all of a sudden, where's white's play? The exact same thing happened where destroyed on the c file and all kinds of targets to vacuum up. I mean, Josipov can effectively vacuum that pawn at his leisure, and Korchnoi is going to have to answer for it. In this variation, a little bit different than Caruana's bad bishop, Artur Josipov actually manages, good scope with the bishop right out of the gate. So, I mean, with that said, of course, there's no f3 challenges and the knight's clear to go ahead. But it's just an interesting way of playing against d4. So the first answer is don't play against d4 any differently than you would play any other move, any other opening. The idea is just to find the best move. You make your plan, you see which tactics can make it happen, and away you go. Protect your space, protect your center. It's no different than anything else. So that's the first answer. And the second answer is strike back, protect your space, don't let white encroach. You do these things, you're going to be great. Thanks for stopping in.
Hey, check this video out to make sure that you get more important information to bring your chess to the next level.